Greetings, true believers, and welcome to another astonishing episode of History of the Marvel Universe. Previously, we recapped the origins of the ancient, nearly immortal race known as the Watchers. To briefly recap, billions of years ago, the Watchers attempted to share their advanced technology with the primitive people of the planet Prosilicus. However, the Prosilicans used this technology to make war with one another, utterly destroying their own world. The Watchers were so horrified by this that they created a strict code of passive observation. Since then, they have sworn to chronicle the events of the cosmos, but never to interfere, and thus became known as the Watchers. Today's tale begins on the Watchers' homeworld with a relatively young member of their species named Aron. Although he considered himself highly intelligent, Aron had not yet reached full maturity and thus had not gone out into the universe to take up his duty of solemn observation. However, he bore witness to alien life the day that his uncle, Uatu, returned to their world to stand trial. Although he was one of the original Watchers who landed on Prosilicus billions of years prior, Uatu was considered a great rebel by the other Watchers due to his tendency to bend or outright break the rules of his people while watching over the planet Earth. When Uatu returned home to answer for these crimes, he was followed by the Kree hero Captain Marvel and his human companion Rick Jones. However, the two were soon attacked by an indigenous animal called a rack cat. Marvel knocked down the beast, allowing he and his friend to escape, all the while Aron watched unseen. The pair then traveled to the Watcher's temple and attempted to speak in Uatu's defense. However, the rack cat had followed and struck Marvel with its electrically charged antlers. Having followed behind, Aron spoke and encouraged the hero to fight back. This caused Emnu, the elder presiding over the trial, to chastise Aron for his outburst. Meanwhile, Rick Jones petitioned Uatu to save his friend, but the Earth's Watcher refused to act. Aron then spoke his own intention to intervene, but again Emnu spoke, forbidding the young Watcher from taking action. In the end, Rick saved Captain Marvel himself and the two defeated the beast together. Uatu was allowed to return to his citadel on the Earth's moon to continue his watch, while Aron was admonished for his desire to take action. He was later assigned to stand watch alongside his uncle Uatu. The Watchers reasoned that Aron would be more receptive to learning from a relative with a similarly rebellious attitude. Sometime later, the mad geneticist known as the High Evolutionary came to the moon seeking the secrets of the superpowered race, the Inhumans. Like the Watcher Citadel, the Inhuman city of Attilan was, at the time, located on the blue area of the moon. And so Uatu spoke with the High Evolutionary while Aron watched from a distance, but the Watcher made clear that he would not interfere with the invasion. Fortunately, the Fantastic Four and the Inhuman royal family arrived to combat the High Evolutionary. It should be noted that the lineup for the heroic foursome was different than usual at this time. Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman had retired to raise their child, while Ben Grimm, the Thing, and Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, remained. Their ranks were bolstered with the addition of Crystal, an Inhuman with control over the four elements, and Sharon Ventura, a woman with super strength who used the codename Ms. Marvel. Soon after the formation of this new team, the Thing was further mutated by cosmic rays, and Ms. Marvel was transformed into a she-thing herself. After his forces were defeated on the moon, the High Evolutionary himself escaped by teleporting away, and so the Fantastic Four were unable to follow. The four asked Uatu where their enemies went, but the Watcher, attempting to set an example for his nephew, would not answer. Aron stepped forward, prepared to volunteer the information himself, but Uatu stopped him. Much to Aron's annoyance, Uatu reaffirmed that they would only watch and never intervene. Tired of the rules of his people, the young Watcher constructed a suit of armor that would obscure him from his uncle's sight and slipped away. Relocating to Earth, he operated out of a secret room at the top of the Empire State Building. From there, he began plotting, his schemes requiring him to collect the DNA of the Fantastic Four. The Thing's was easy to obtain as he had recently gotten into a fight with the Incredible Hulk, so Aron was able to harvest skin samples from the scene of the battle. He was nearly caught by Ms. Marvel, but he blasted her away and escaped before he was recognized. Her DNA was also easily obtained as Aron was able to take control of the synthetic creature called the Dragon Man. Although She-Hulk was with his target when he attacked, Dragon Man was able to collect cell samples from Ms. Marvel during the fight and return to Aron. However, the flames of the Human Torch would make it far more difficult to obtain his genetic material. Not long after this, the roster of the Fantastic Four changed again, Crystal had left, the Thing had lost his powers, and so Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman returned. And so Aron formed an alliance with their rival team, the Frightful Four, which at the time was made up of the Wizard, Ulysses Klaue, Titania, and Hydro Man. The Frightful and the Fantastic battled each other, but of course it was the heroic foursome that was victorious. However, Aron then arrived and used his psionic powers to knock out the distracted heroes. When the Renegade Watcher refused to kill the FF and become a more permanent member of the Frightful Four, the villains prepared to attack. But Aron simply swatted his assailants away with another psionic attack and escaped with cell samples harvested from the remaining 3 members of the Fantastic Four. With the genetic material he'd collected, Aron created clones of the Human Torch, the Invisible Woman, Mr. Fantastic, the Thing, and Ms. Marvel. His own 5-membered Fantastic Four whom he could manipulate from behind the scenes. He subsequently abducted both the Fantastic Four and the Frightful Four and kept them in cryogenic suspension in case he needed to create more clones. Operating out of a remote location in the Canadian Rockies, Aron controlled the clones directly so that events could play out the way he desired. In their first outing, Aron's clones encountered the Mole Man, in many ways mirroring the first adventure of the real Fantastic Four. For a short time, this continued. Aron wrote the stories and then watched them play out, all the while the clones never realized that they were clones or that they were being controlled. However, it soon became clear that something was amiss when the cloned FF attacked a stage magician reminiscent of their old foe, the Miracle Man. After that, the fake Mr. Fantastic announced his intentions to begin charging for their services, essentially starting the superhero equivalent of a protection racket. All the while, Aron watched, pleased with the narrative he had crafted. However, while that was happening, the real Fantastic Four dreamed, having their own adventures in their own minds. While the Human Torch dreamt of using his powers, his internal temperature slowly raised, causing him to wake up from his cryogenic slumber. The Torch broke free and released his teammates, and together they forced Aron into one of his own cryotubes. However, as he froze, the Frightful Four were released as well, leading to another battle. Aron also summoned his own FF, forcing the clones to realize what they were. But Aron's Fantastic Four had no intention of giving up their new lives and battled the originals. After watching the ensuing conflict, Aron arose again, revealing that his cryogenic tubes would have no effect on a Watcher, and that he was feigning defeat to observe what would happen next. Satisfied, the rogue Watcher transported the Frightful Four to the supervillain prison known as the Raft, and the heroes back to their New York headquarters. Inspired by the dreams of the real Fantastic Four, Aron then placed his clones into suspended animation so that he could observe their dreams while hiding from his uncle and the other Watchers. Establishing a new base in the Arctic Circle, he eventually grew tired of this project. It was during this time that a villain called the Magus placed the inhabitants of Earth into a stationary trance as part of his own plan for ultimate power. Unaffected by the Magus' spell, Aron seized the opportunity by abducting the Fantastic Four's ally, Alicia Masters. This time, while Uatu took notice, he took no action. When the Magus was subsequently defeated and the Earth's population restored to normal, Alicia's stepfather rushed to petition the Fantastic Four for help. Using a device to cast an image of the recent past, Mr. Fantastic discovered that Alicia was taken by the rogue Watcher. By following the energy trail that Aron had left behind, Mr. Fantastic, the Thing, and Ms. Marvel, who had been restored to human form but retained her super strength, found the Renegade Watcher's Arctic lair. Aron's experiment this time was to create a new dream world, a pocket reality based on Alicia Masters' subconscious. When the 3 heroes attacked, Aron placed them in the dream world to observe the results. However, they would not be the only ones to take action, as Alicia's stepfather was also the former supervillain known as the Puppet Master, who was able to compel others into action by using dolls made of radioactive clay. And so, to aid the Fantastic Four and combat the Rogue Watcher, the Puppet Master sent the mightiest being he could manipulate, Owen Reese, the Molecule Man. While the Molecule Man was theoretically capable of stopping Aron, his nervousness and lack of confidence was his own undoing. Ultimately, Aron defeated the Molecule Man by trapping him in a vacuum until he passed out. However, the battle did last long enough for the three heroes to regain their sense of selves and escape from their dreamscape prison. But it was not they who would defeat the Renegade Watcher. You see, Ms. Marvel's return to human form secretly came at the hands of the villainous Dr. Doom. In exchange, she would report back to him, and thus Doom learned of the rogue Watcher. While Aron was distracted, Doom struck from behind and drained the Watcher's cosmic energy. While Uatu collected his nephew and prepared to bring him back to their homeworld for trial, Dr. Doom used the cosmic energy he'd collected to power a new suit of armor. With it, he attacked the Watcher's citadel on the moon, seeking to claim even more power. Unsure of what to do, Uatu summoned the Fantastic Four to his citadel. Unable to combat Doom directly, but unwilling to leave his home undefended, the Watcher explained the situation to the heroes before leaving with Aron to consult his people. Fortunately, with the help of the Inhuman King Black Bolt, the Fantastic Four were able to overload Doom's armor, forcing him to eject the cosmic battery before it destroyed him. Meanwhile, before the Watchers could pass judgment on Aron, they were called away to deal with a more pressing matter. You see, the Watchers had designated one of their own, a giant Watcher called the One, to house the collective knowledge of their race and allow it to preserve past the end of the universe. However, the space gods known as the Celestials had determined that the One was intentionally accelerating the heat death of the universe so that he could fulfill his purpose more quickly. As a result, the Celestials declared war on the Watchers. While that was happening, Aron recovered and escaped. Hiding in the asteroid belt between Jupiter and Mars, he began preparing a way to save himself from the Celestials. To this end, he allied himself with an enigmatic villain known as the Dark Raider. To briefly explain who the Dark Raider is, we must remember when Galactus first came to Earth. In the world we know, Uatu sent the Human Torch to Galactus' stronghold to obtain a weapon capable of threatening the World Eater. As a result, the Fantastic Four were able to repel Galactus with the ultimate nullifier. However, on another Earth, in another universe, the Watcher instead sent Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, to the World Eater ship. But the Mr. Fantastic of that world spent too much time overthinking and overanalyzing every option before procuring the weapon. As a result, he was too late to stop Galactus and billions were killed, including his teammates. And so that Mr. Fantastic, the Reed Richards of Earth 944, went mad and blamed himself. Becoming the Dark Raider, he began traveling to different universes, hunting and killing alternate versions of himself. Meanwhile, disguised as his uncle, Aron manipulated both the Dark Raider and the Fantastic Four of his own dimension. When the two forces clashed, the Dark Raider threatened to use the ultimate nullifier he obtained from his own universe. Posing as Uatu, Aron made it seem as though he annihilated the evil Reed Richards, but in fact he had merely transported him back to his home base and claimed the ultimate nullifier for himself. Aron planned on converting the cosmic weapon into a device that could seal off the entire solar system, placing it in its own pocket dimension so that Aron would survive no matter the result of the Watcher's war with the Celestials. He also attempted to destroy the Fantastic Four, but his cosmic powers were still weakened after being drained by Doom. The real Uatu soon arrived on the scene, but he was ordered away to join in the fight against the Celestials. And with no reason to continue his ruse, Aron revealed himself as the phony Uatu. He battled the Invisible Woman, the Human Torch, Ant-Man, and Dr. Doom's heir, Christophe Bernard. During this, the Invisible Woman was sent to the Negative Zone for a final confrontation with the Dark Raider. Meanwhile, Aron sought to recover his full cosmic power from Doom's battery, which Uatu had recovered and kept in his citadel. However, Ant-Man was able to distract Aron long enough for Christophe to booby-trap the battery so that when the Rogue Watcher attempted to claim it, he received a strong electric attack instead. Aron escaped once more, but it wasn't long after this that the Celestial Watcher war came to an end when the Celestial Executioner, Exitar, killed the One. The Rogue Watcher still intended to convert the solar system into his own private universe with the machine that he and the Dark Raider had built. But before he could, Ant-Man infiltrated the machine and exploded it from the inside out. Aron declared he would simply build it anew, but with the war over, Uatu arrived and ordered his nephew to stand down. When the Rogue Watcher refused, Uatu decided that he had no choice. The two clashed, but Aron was no match for the older Watcher. Uatu destroyed Aron, converting his body into the living energy which would serve as the basis for the One's eventual resurrection, a process that would take thousands of years. And so that was the end of Aron, the Rogue Watcher. But thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, share the video, and subscribe for more Marvelous content. Be sure to leave a comment letting me know what Marvel hero or villain you want to hear about next, and as always, the issues referenced in this video are listed in the description below if you would like to read them for yourself, as well as links to other places you can find me, including my Patreon page where for only $1 a month you can get your name in these special thanks here. So until next time, true believers, Excelsior!